Hi everyone, I'm Anya. Welcome back to my channel. So you may have noticed I am trying something a little different today, and that is a writing vlog because it is April, which means Camp NaNoWriMo, which means writing vlogs abound. So we're gonna try this today. I'm starting Camp Nano a little late actually, just because of the way that my schedule worked this year. And I think my main goal for this month is going to be editing, actually. Horror, shock of shocks, but I have finally, maybe a year and a half after I finished this manuscript that I've had on the back burner for a while, I finally realized that no, I'm not going to be the exception who manages to get published with 109,000 word YA manuscript. So I'm really going to be trying to cut that down. My goal is to get it below 100,000 words at least, and I would love to do that within the first half of April so that I can get back to some more interesting writing of new things after that. So that's my main goal. Is April 7th today, so I'm gonna get started with that and hopefully be able to cut that down. And you know, these are gonna be writing vlogs, but you know me, I'm not gonna be able to resist talking about different things I learned about writing along the way. So let's try this out and see how it goes. I don't know if you can tell here, but it's a really beautiful day outside. I went for a walk earlier that has really refreshed me. I think honestly getting outside has been so good for just replenishing my creativity, especially as I've been at home during the pandemic. Wow, there's a person running. How industrious. I definitely did not run. Hello, it is April 9th. I've been at this for a few days now, a little tired, but that's okay. So I've been working on my goal of cutting down my manuscript by, I guess, 10,000-ish, 9,000 words. And I think for me, I've been really surprised actually by simultaneously how easy and how hard this has been, because I guess I usually think of myself as being weaker in the sort of structural big picture elements of writing and stronger in the sort of line by line language elements of writing. And so I actually, even though I've done a few editing passes on this manuscript before, I actually haven't gone back into the line by line level and really done a good line edit on it. And I have been truly shocked by how many extraneous words I've been finding there, and just like, you know, saying the same thing in different ways or adding extra similes and metaphors, that sort of thing. So that has been a little surprising to me, has really made me think of my writing in a different way. It sort of made me think of some books where that sort of floweriness and wordiness of the language actually really bothered me. Like, I'm trying to think of a recent example, like The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I liked the book, but I felt that the language was just too much at times, and I'm seeing that in my own writing as well. So that's been really, really good for me to actually focus in on that. I've been able to cut so far about 3,000 words pretty easily just by going into those sections, and a couple of like larger sort of combining two chapters together, that sort of thing, and cutting words that way. So I'm feeling pretty good about my progress so far. I didn't think I was gonna rethink myself as a writer this April, but it is sort of happening, to be honest, which is cool, which is exciting, but also a bit disorienting. So it's April 11th now. This weekend was actually, well, Saturday was pretty good for writing. I got a good amount of editing. I should say editing. I'm really cutting. I have not written anything new for a while, which is making me sad, but I'm making good progress. I made good progress on Saturday on my concisifying of my manuscript. And I think I've cut in total now from 109,000 to 104,000, which is exciting. But it's definitely getting to a point where I feel like it's getting a lot harder to cut. I think I talked last time about how it was surprisingly easy to just cut down a huge amount of words just on a line by line level. But I think as I was going along writing this manuscript, I was becoming more conscious of that flowery or like almost purple or just overwritten prose. And so I'm not finding as many places where I can cut that anymore, which is good but also bad because now I'm not sure where I'm going to get the other 4,000 words from. But the thing with this manuscript is that I wrote it sort of in two sections, two simultaneous strands. So the first one is a contemporary fantasy, and then the second one, the sort of interwoven together with it, is like a high fantasy. And that strand, the high fantasy, is the one that I've been focusing on because I thought it was going to have way more extraneous language. So I haven't really looked at the contemporary one at all. So I'm wondering if that will have the same problems, especially near the beginning, with just those extra words that I can cut out easily, or whether there'll be less of that, because I think I was writing in a more concise style for that and less flowery, just to fit sort of the tone and genre. Yeah, I guess that reminds me of another thing I have to do, which before I can query this manuscript, which is really my goal. I've sent out a few queries for it, but have gradually sort of been getting over my like hard-headed stubbornness and self-absorption about this manuscript and realizing that it does still need a lot of work. So before I can query it, I also need to try to figure out ways to make these two strands of the story fit together better. If anybody has ever written a story like this, I would really love to get your thoughts on how to do that, because for me at least, it's so hard to hold both of those things in my mind at the same time that I'm having a really hard time even conceptualizing how those two things, like how to draw connections between the two things and sort of make them feel like part of the same story instead of just two simultaneous stories going on at the same time. Because what it is that a character in the contemporary one is writing this high fantasy story, and then they sort of start to converge, or maybe not, like maybe it's real, maybe it's not, that sort of thing. And I need to figure out how to really connect those to each other. So that'll be a bit later in April. But yeah, so Saturday was good. Sunday, I just felt really tired all day, and by the end of it, I had really wanted to get some more words cut down, but I ended up just taking a break from editing and instead watching this video from Manuscript Academy about how to find a home for your short stories. I think I may have mentioned I've been writing some more short stories lately, which is exciting, but I also know absolutely nothing about the short story submission process, and I know it's super different from querying novels. So I watched this video from Manuscript Academy, which was really good and really helpful to me in sort of realizing that, yeah, you have to submit, like you submit to tiers of magazines, and I realized, there are also anthologies and contests, and you should be submitting to all of those. And it was really helpful as well for finding some resources for how to keep track of all your submissions, because if you have a bunch of short stories on submission to a bunch of places at once, I could easily imagine how those things could get mixed up, and you could end up accidentally submitting the same story twice to somewhere, or submitting when you're not supposed to have simultaneous submission, something like that. So yeah, if you haven't checked out Manuscript Academy, I would really recommend it. I think I haven't watched too much of their stuff, but this video at least was really helpful to me just to even know where to get started and more resources to look at. So that was productive, at least, even if the editing itself was maybe not so much. But new day tomorrow, so we'll see how it goes. So it is April 12th. I have planned poorly because the lighting in here is really horrible. I think it's really bad. That is fine because it's a vlog. So yeah, I just finished work. I'm about to sit down to write today. And I think today, so I'm down to 104,000 words from 109,000 and really scraping the bottom of the barrel here. So I think I'm going to have to reconsider cutting another larger chunk out of my manuscript in order to get it down beneath 100,000. I thought I had cut as much as possible, so I really don't know where those words are going to come from. I'm thinking maybe I have to do a combination of combining two of the first chapters and finding some other section somewhere to cut. So I mentioned I have these sort of like two main strands of the story, but I also have a third sort of element to it, which is little vignettes about different artifacts that appear in the book, and so I'm wondering if I'm going to have to cut those, much as I love them. I guess this is why they say kill your darlings, but it really hurts. I don't know yet. I think they do add a certain extra dimension to the story, and another angle on the story beyond the two viewpoint characters that I have, and that sort of ties together the two main strands of the narrative. So I really don't want to get rid of them, but I think I might have to in order to cut down on those words. Or, I might decide that I'm okay with having it come in a little over 100,000 in any case. So I do still have a few more chapters to just go through and cut on a line by line basis, but that's definitely not going to get me as close as I would like to be. So we'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, I was knitting this little cactus here that I wanted to show you all. Very proud of it. I don't know if any of you guys get this, but I feel like when I have something else to do with my hands or something else that's a little crafty, not necessarily heavy on the brain work, but just something creative, I find it sparks my creativity for writing as well, and especially is rejuvenating for when I have a bit of a less pleasant or less engaging task like I've set myself here for cutting all these words. So that at least was good. I've been productive in knitting my cactus, so now I'm gonna go be productive and write. It is April 13th. The past 24 hours have been absolutely wild. I don't really know how much I'm supposed to say. I have no idea of the protocol surrounding any of this. This is sounding super mysterious. It's actually not mysterious. So what happened was that yesterday, after I talked to you all and said I was gonna go edit, I saw this call for submissions for short stories. And it was in a genre that I don't usually write, sort of a form that I don't usually write, but I thought the prompt sounded super cool, and so I was like, okay, this is fun, I'm gonna do this. And so I wrote it and submitted it last night, just sort of on a whim, and then this morning it was accepted for publication in an anthology, which is gonna be my very first publication, so I'm incredibly excited about that. As I said, I have no idea like how much I'm allowed to say at this point or anything like that. So yeah, I did basically no editing yesterday because I was writing this short story, but I will forgive myself. Right now I'm just feeling incredibly energized by all of this. I think, I don't know, as bad as it sounds, maybe it's not bad, but I feel like getting this sort of external validation is something that I haven't really gotten in the past for my writing specifically, but it is something that I feel like as writers who want to be published, that's sort of the goal. So it's been just really cool to see that, I could learn how to write a short story I guess within the past few months, and learn how to do it to such an extent that now one of mine is going to be published, which I think last year, certainly this time last year, probably 6 months ago, I could never have imagined. And I think a lot of that, but one of the big things I've learned here is that a lot of that is really due to this group that I met and sort of joined online within the past few months, maybe 3 or 4 months. And there's been really, really amazing, motivational, inspirational, supportive, but also really great at providing feedback and criticism and helping me to make my work better. And a lot of them are just such amazing writers, so it's really, really incredible to be able to learn from them. And I think that having all of them there and being surrounded by people who are also working towards the same goals that I am has really pushed me to learn how to write these short stories that I never thought I could learn. I thought, I was going to be a novelist forever, like diehard novelist, but that community really opened my mind to the possibility of doing this and of submitting my short stories, which in the past was definitely something I wouldn't have done. So I'm just completely shocked that all of this has happened in the past 24 hours. Obviously really thrilled, and I cannot wait to share more details about it because I really want to talk about it and share it with people. But for now, it's just completely mind-blowing to me that this has all happened. And yeah, so today I think, well, we'll see how today goes. I realized that I've been meaning to make an author website for the past a lot of months. And now I think I finally have to do it because that's something that I should put in my bio for this publication. So that'll probably be the next few days. My programming skills are not great. Updates to come, but so I think I'm going to have to take a break from editing for this, but I feel like because this is such an important part of the business of being a writer, I think I'm gonna make a new goal to have this website up and done and to share it with all of you within the next few days. So you'll be getting updates about that as well. And after that, be back to editing and hopefully I'll be rejuvenated. It is April 14th. I'm about to get my first COVID shot, which I'm super excited about. Yeah, on the writing front, writing related, I've been thinking a lot about my author website that I am now suddenly feeling obligated to make. I've been looking at a lot of examples online, and I did find a really helpful website that just laid out really clearly the sections that you need and even gave a couple of sample websites to look at. So I will link to that in the description below because I found it really helpful just for even conceptualizing what I had to include on this website. But I've been doing some sketches to plan. You can appreciate my fine drawing skills here. I'm sure I'll be doing some more of this. And today I think I'm going to try to write all the copy for it so that I know sort of what content I have, and that'll help me to lay out everything and hopefully expedite that whole process of actually building the website. Yeah, I've also been doing a lot of thinking about just this whole crazy, like my work is getting published thing. I just got the contract today, which just added another layer of surrealness to all of this, but it is real. And especially I've been thinking about how lucky I am to have this opportunity so soon after starting to write short stories, because I think I mentioned this talk that I listened to from Manuscript Academy about short story submissions, and the person there said that getting 5 out of 100 of the submissions you send accepted is considered a good rate of acceptance, and anything more than that is above average. And so I've only sent out, I think, 4 stories, this being one of them, and already have gotten 1 accepted. And granted, it's not, you know, a huge publication or anything like that, but for me it feels like a huge accomplishment. And I was just reflecting on how lucky I am to have seen that fortuitously the night before it closed, to have gotten that submission in, and for it to have been a good fit for what the publication was looking for, because I think that's oftentimes so much of what it comes down to, not that your story is bad or that they didn't like your story, but that it wasn't a good fit just for what they were looking for the particular publication. So I know that I'm probably going to have to submit a lot more short stories before the next one gets published, but I just feel so lucky that this happened so early on in my short story writing career, so to speak. That's weird to say, but that it happened so early on and sort of gave me this just extra little boost of confidence that I think will be super helpful. So, you know, if you're watching this and you haven't had this luck, keep at it. I know I'm going to be right there with you getting rejected from stuff. So it will happen one day if you just keep writing and submitting it. But anyway, so today, after I get my vaccine, hopefully my arm will not be too sore, and I'm just gonna work on this website and hopefully get that done as efficiently as possible, and then get back to writing, hopefully by this weekend. It's April 17th. I have probably missed a few days because I have the memory of a 90-year-old. But we're back now. Actually, I haven't done that much work the past couple days. On Thursday, I did some editing, which was really good to just get back into it and sort of dive back into my world a little bit more after not writing the past couple days because I was working on the website stuff. I felt like I just needed a break, and I was writing with a friend, and so it was really good to just be able to have that time to edit and talk about my book, talk about her book, and just go back to it after having taken a little step back. But yeah, so that was on Thursday, and then yesterday, which is Friday, I didn't do any work whatsoever because I was baking a checkerboard cake, trying to bake a checkerboard cake as sort of a celebration of just my publication and getting my first vaccine dose and everything. It was an interesting experience. One of my cakes collapsed and the other one didn't, even though they were the exact same mix and just one had food coloring, so I'm not really sure what happened there. But that in itself was also really nice, I think, to give myself permission to not work, to just get off of my day job, and instead of feeling like I had to immediately sit down and write or edit or do something quote-unquote productive for the writing aspect of things, that I could just stop and bake a cake instead and take a moment to celebrate this thing that I'm really excited about. I think these days, now that I do have a day job, I often feel like I really only have time for two things, and one of those has to be my day job and the other one has to be writing or just the business of being an author, and that can sometimes be a lot of pressure. I'm sure other folks feel this as well, but it's just like I feel like I can't afford to even take a day off because I have so little time as it is. So it was, I think, a really good reminder to myself that, like, yes, I can take a day off, and it doesn't have to be just when I have something momentous to celebrate. It can be for smaller things as well. Anyway, yeah, so while I was baking this cake, I was actually thinking about my story that I wrote for this and just sort of reflecting on the fact that a lot of times I'm writing a short story, in this case I'm writing flash fiction, and I'm still trying to fit it into a certain structure. So in this case, even though it was a really short story, I felt like in hindsight I was trying to fit it into sort of a narrative structure, the structure of a longer short story. And I think one of the things I really want to work on when I go back to writing short stories, and also novels as well, is trying to break out of that structure a little more. And also just recognizing in myself when I'm trying to fit into that. I was having this conversation with somebody the other day, and he was saying that he spent a lot of time sort of going through different iterations and being like, okay, I've broken the short story structure in this way, what am I going to do next? What am I going to do next to sort of break out of that? And I feel like I'm the opposite. I'm almost writing short stories and trying every time to fit into it more perfectly, fit into this structure more perfectly. So that's definitely something that I don't know, just like to be more conscious of. Yeah, I'm not really quite sure what form that's gonna take yet, but something that's been on my mind lately. So for now, I'm gonna go and work on the website some more. It's hard, y'all, it's hard. I know it would be a lot easier if I used some sort of tool like WordPress or Wix or something, but I don't know, there's just some things that I would like to do with it that are not going to be easy to do, maybe impossible to do with a template. So I'm gonna at least try on this route, building it from scratch a little more before giving up. It is April 18th. I think this is going to be my last day for this vlog. It's definitely, I've really enjoyed doing this. I'm really glad I tried it out. I think it's been cool to have sort of this diary, I guess, of everything that's gone on this past month. Obviously, I could not have predicted how much would have happened and how much I would have gone off my original plan for Camp NaNo. Like, remember when I was just trying to cut down my novel? But I think it's actually been really good to just be able to have that flexibility and not feel tied to having that one particular goal and not being able to respond to things as they're coming up, which I feel like has been something that I'm really glad I'm doing. Speaking of which, I'm working on the website now. I've been working on it for really the past few days, and I think I finally got a design that I'm happy with, which is great, and now it's just to build the thing. So I think I'm probably over the hardest part of it now, because now I've built a website before. CSS skills are not that great, but I know how to Google things and find things out, so that'll be okay. So I'm really excited about that, and to finally see the finished product and feeling like I'm actually going to be happy with it, which is something that I was struggling with the past couple of days in terms of even finding a design that I felt like I could be satisfied with. So I'm excited about that. Yeah, overall, Camp NaNo has not gone as I anticipated so far. I've not done very much writing whatsoever, but I would love to hear how your Camp NaNo has been going, if you're doing it, or just your writing in general, and also whether you'd like to see more of this kind of thing for me in the future, because I really enjoyed it and I hope you did as well. So I will sign off now to go back and work on the website. Hopefully we'll finish it in the next couple of days. We'll see about tomorrow because, I have to work and I'm not sure how much time I'll have after that, but hopefully I can get a good chunk of it done today and just sort of get that off my plate and go back to editing, which is my original goal for this month. So thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe and hit the bell to get notified when I post another video. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.